Australia's Abrams are in Ukraine now, and the footage answers the only question that matters. Can a tank with a long history in Iraq survive a war where the sky is full of drones? Spoiler, it can, as long as Ukrainians keep treating every square inch of armor like an invitation to improvise. Australia's Ukraine support, crikey, has crossed a serious threshold. Canberra says its overall assistance has topped $1.7 billion, including more than $1.5 billion in military support since Russia's full-scale invasion. Hey friends, Wes here, U.S. military veteran of the GWAT, or the Global War on Terror, and forever banned from the city of Brisbane. In December 2025, Australia announced a new $95 million package, including a $50 million contribution to NATO's prioritized Ukraine requirements list, plus equipment like tactical air defense radars and munitions, and funding for the Drone Capability Coalition. Then came the headline with treads. Australia's Defense Department says the ADF completed delivery of 49 M1A1 Abrams tanks to Ukraine back in December, valued at about $245 million, fulfilling a direct Ukrainian request. Anyways, tanks for those tanks. I cracked myself up. Those tanks aren't sitting in a depot waiting for a ribbon-cutting ceremony. They've been filmed in Ukrainian service and reported in use around Pokrovsk with the 425th Separate Assault Regiment, the Scala, including footage released through Ukrainian channels and covered by Ukrainian outlets. Now, here's the problem for any Abrams in Ukraine. This war punishes mass, heat, and predictability. Drones find you, FPVs chase you, Lancets lurk, artillery waits for the drone to finish spotting, mines force you into lanes, Russian-guided munitions show up right when you're committed. The Abrams was built to fight in an environment where the biggest threat was a tank gun or an RPG at the wrong moment. Ukraine is fighting in an environment where the biggest threat is a $500 drone guided by a Russian in a hoodie who hasn't seen sunlight since 2022. So the story here isn't Abrams arrives, the story is Abrams adapts. The recent clips circulating out of Pokrovsk sector show Ukrainian Abrams moving in columns, supporting assault elements, and in at least one widely shared set of imagery and reporting, providing fire support to assault groups in the Pokrovsk direction. If you watch closely, the most important detail isn't the gun, it's the silhouette. These are not showroom Abrams at the Detroit Auto Show. These are Ukrainian Abrams with survival bolted on. You see roof structures, you see cage and mesh, you see add-on blocks, you see the tank wearing what looks like a field-expedient suit of armor meant to catch, deflect, or prematurely detonate drones. That tells you the Ukrainians aren't treating Abrams like a sacred relic, they're treating it like a chassis, a very expensive chassis, that needs to stay alive long enough to do the work. Australia's fleet was the M1A1 AIM series tanks, which Canberra replaced at home with the newer M1A2 variants. Australia's Defense Department frames the 49 tank donation as a landmark transfer and valued it at, what do we say, like $245 million? The M1A1 AIM tanks sit in the modern enough sweet spot for Ukraine. They bring strong protection, that proven 120mm gun, solid thermal sights, and a mature maintenance ecosystem compared to a lot of the Soviet legacy platforms. They also bring weight, and that cuts both ways. Weight helps you survive some hits. Weight also limits where you can go, what bridges you can cross, and how fast you can recover a disabled tank under fire. Which means the Abrams in Ukraine lives or dies as part of a system. Engineers, recovery vehicles, smoke discipline, drone overwatch, and route planning. Overhead protection, like the drone hood concept, is now common across Ukrainian armor. Sometimes it's steel mesh, sometimes it looks like netting. The goal is simple: trigger an FPV drone early, disrupt the warhead's optimal detonation, or keep the drone from getting clean contact with the turret and the engine deck. Second, add-on armor. Footage and reporting around Ukrainian Abrams have shown additional protective blocks and structures on turret faces and sides, consistent with Ukraine's wider habit of adding protection against top attack drones and loitering munitions. Third, electronic warfare. Ukraine has pushed EW down to the tactical level. That includes vehicle-mounted systems meant to interfere with drone control links. It's not magic, It doesn't stop every drone, but it forces drones to miss more often, drop earlier, or lose control right as they line up a shot. In a drone-saturated fight, more often is the difference between a tank that keeps moving and a tank that becomes a bonfire. There were reports and clips circulating that at least one ex-Australian Abrams took heavy fire, caught fire, and still ended with the crew alive, with the vehicle described as salvageable in the reporting around that incident. This is where Abrams design and Ukrainian practice meet. Abrams is famous for storing main gun ammunition in a protected bustle compartment with blowout panels designed to vent an ammunition cook-off away from the crew compartment. That feature doesn't make a tank invincible, but it does improve the odds that a catastrophic internal event kills the tank, not the crew. Ukraine's habit is equally important: recovery culture. Ukrainians try to pull damaged equipment back, repair it, and send it out again. They do it with Western armor, they do it with Soviet armor, they do it with anything that still resembles the vehicle. In a war of attrition, a salvageable tank is a strategic asset. It preserves trained crews and returns combat power to the line faster than replacing the vehicle. So, a burning Abrams with a surviving crew is not a failure. It's a violent proof of concept. So then let's talk about why the Abrams shows up in Pokrovsk at all. Well, Pokrovsk matters because it's a logistics and defensive anchor in the Donetsk axis. Russia has been trying to squeeze and pressure that area for months, and Ukraine has been forced into constant counterattacks, repositioning, and defensive fires to keep routes open. A tank like Abrams brings three things Ukraine values in that environment. 1. Protected firepower. A 120mm gun with modern sights can deliver accurate, rapid, direct fire that helps assault groups break contact, suppress Russian strongpoints, and punish exposed infantry positions. 2nd, psychological effect. A tank that shows up when drones are buzzing and artillery is hunting can stabilize a moment where morale is a tactical variable, no matter how many people hate to admit it. 3, survivability relative to many alternatives. Abrams can take hits that would mission kill lighter vehicles. That doesn't mean it shrugs off drones. It means it gives crews more chances to survive long enough to do their job and get out. Australia, crikey, didn't just send tanks, it moved them through a real logistics pipeline. Australian defense reporting highlights the personnel work behind the transfer and preparation efforts tied to the delivery. Australia also continues training Ukrainian personnel under Operation Kudu as part of the UK-led training effort, which matters because the real bottleneck in this war is trained people, not steel. Oh, and Australia has used sanctions against Russia's shadow fleet as another lever, paired with the December 2025 assistance package. This is what serious support looks like: equipment, training, economic pressure, all stacked together. So what's the strategic read here? Well, first, Australia's Abrams donation gives Ukraine mass in a category that still matters: protected direct fire. People love to declare the tank dead every few months. Then a city fight shows up, a trench line holds, and everyone remembers that infantry still like having armor on call. Also, the footage really tells a story about this new reality. Armor survives through adaptation. Cages, nets, extra blocks, EW, route discipline, drone overwatch, recovery teams. That's the modern combined arms stack. Tanks that operate alone die fast. Tanks that operate as part of a system keep showing up in new clips. And then this transfer has alliance signaling baked into it. Australia sits far from Europe. Russia still gets Australian tanks, and Ukraine anyway. That tells Moscow the coalition isn't only geographic, it's political. Okay, so here's where we land. Australia sent 49 Abrams. They arrived, they're operating, they're taking hits, they're getting modified like a Ukrainian garage had a deadline and a grudge. Russia is going to claim every burning vehicle as a triumph. That's what Russia does. It treats propaganda like a substitute for competence. Ukraine is doing something more interesting. It's turning foreign armor into a locally adapted survival machine, then driving them into the part of the map where Russia keeps trying to force a collapse. Ukraine keeps adapting faster, and that's why Moscow keeps getting surprised by things it should have seen coming. That's it for today, my friends. Subscribing is cool. Buy me a coffee, or better yet, donate to a solid Ukrainian nonprofit. I recommend Car for Ukraine. And as always, glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes. Crimea is Ukraine.